And you know what, I've got to tell you, Harold Parsons used to refer to the clients at St. Michael's Mission as his fallen angels. You know, I wish videos existed back then, and I could show you a video of Harold. I can't. Harold was a kind of a shortish guy, kind of a plumpish guy, kind of a baldish guy, kind of a, not rugged. You know, you'd expect a guy on a mission like this to be kind of hardcore. He wasn't like that at all. He was very soft and sensitive. But don't try to put anything over him. And the guys there, because it was guys in those days, not families, they were not women when I was doing it. They loved him. And they knew that he loved them. And they knew that this was one place where they could come, and they didn't have to pretend to be anything that they weren't. They didn't have to pretend to be successful. In the world's eyes, they were failures. They knew that, and they were reminded of that all the time by the police, by the social services, by the passers-by. But they knew that St. Michael's Mission was a place of refuge for them. And it was also a place of family for them. I remember meeting one guy, his name was Scotty. Appropriately enough, he was from Scotland. And Scotty had a bald patch on the side of his head in a very, very weird place, in a weird way. The rest of his hair was this full white hair. He wasn't young, he was in his 60s. And I didn't have the nerve to ask him, like, how that happened. But one day Bob told me, see, it happened that Scotty one night had gotten drunk with a squaw. I think he was, living with the, we call her squaw. And they'd fallen asleep outside of Place des Arts. And they didn't quite place themselves correctly. And Scotty had fallen asleep in a puddle, and with his head in the puddle. And the water froze that night. Oh. So when he woke up and sat up, he pulled all this haircut to the roots, and from then on, for the rest of his life, he was going to have this bald head. Well, they thought this was the most glorious and funny thing. And every now and then somebody would glue a patch of fur or something over his head. They were living life. They were living life. Not the way any one of us would want to choose. But the point is, St. Michael's Mission was their place of refuge. They could be who they were, no pretense, and no phoniness about it. And they knew that Harold Parsons, the director of the mission, loved them. And he wasn't only going to love them at Christmas time, when everybody gives tin of tuna and a can of peas to the local food drive. He was going to love them all year. And he wasn't only going to give them clothes to wear at Christmas time, when everybody's heart is moved to be generous. It was going to be 12 months a year. And he wasn't only going to give them, a bowl soup and a cup of really bad coffee at Christmas time, when people come to visit, because Global and CBC and CFC have come to give heartwarming stories to all us nice and warm and Federalist Islanders about taking care of the poor, the marginalized. Harold was going to do it 12 months a year. And I spoke to Harold for the last time, about 6 months before he died of cancer. And his chief concern, he mentioned it, you say, but his chief concern was who's going to take over that thing. Who's going to take over that thing? Because with all the government programs, and with all the subsidies, and all the good wishes, he knew that what his fallen angels needed was people who would take care of him in season and out of season, not just when it makes your heart feel warm. So, it's wonderful what we're doing with the Syrian refugees coming to Canada. And it's wonderful that they're being given, snow suits and coats and boots and gift cards to buy stuff and food and shelter and all the rest of it. That's a wonderful, wonderful thing. But please, this Christmas, let's not forget that there are 35,000 people in Montreal that seek refuge every single night by a dumpster in the entrance doorway to the cathedral and back out in the sunlight. And some of them won't wake up sometime this winter. And those refugees need advocates as well. And when we think of church, church needs to be a place for refugees, and it needs to be a place of refuge. And it needs to engage the support of all its membership to be directors of these places and centers of refuge. And just remember that as we tell the Christmas stories and the Christmas dinners and the presents. It's all wonderful, it's all lovely. And I'm not suggesting we should deprive ourselves. Let's just remember, there are people out there who need us, who need you. Amen.
Amen.